Hey YouTube. I just rambling thoughts now and then. You know how I get. Haven't really posted a whole lot this past week. For one thing, my middle child, who's in the Army, she had been notified that she's got a big 6-week training coming up, her and her husband both. So she brought me her granddaughter. So I've been busy. Mike and I have both been busy. He is so excellent with babysitting till it comes time to change a diaper. But anyway, I'm sure you'll be seeing Savannah from time to time on some of my videos. Of course, my grandson, he's all having a fit because he has to share grandma now because, he lives closer. But it's really been a fun experience so far. We're just a few days into it, and it reminded me why I stopped having kids. But she's just as sweet as she can be, so just been busy doing that, playing grandma. Still keeping an eye on all of you guys' videos that I'm subscribed to, and there's just so many disturbing things. I made mention yesterday of the fact of the weather, and I'm still having a problem with the fact that we had these devastating tornadoes January 30th, 29th, and 30th, and instead of turning on the Weather Channel to hear about blizzards coming through, I'm hearing about, thunderstorms and floods and tornadoes. And, the earth through history has gone through many changes naturally on its own, and it's a very big possibility that that's all that's going on. It also could be enhanced or not by man-made causes. It could or not have anything to do with HAARP. I don't know. All I know is that Mother Nature is bigger than us, and she's not happy about something right now. And I think, along with the gun debates and the wars and rumors of wars and all these other things, we need to keep in perspective that we do need to keep our eye on Mother Nature, because she is, she can be our best friend, she can be our worst enemy, literally. So I've had that on my mind a lot lately. The chemtrails that I see, they disgust me. I don't know what they are. I know some of the ingredients. I don't know who's paying for this, who's approved it, and who has the mentality to think that it's a good idea. But I've heard on the other side of the argument that those that believe that there's global warming, the chemtrails are designed to reflect the sunlight back out into space to reduce the amount of sunlight coming in to our atmosphere, since we've got a hole in the ozone and all these other things, and to try to help slow down or reduce global warming. Now, to me, what I see is chemicals falling down out of the sky and a failed garden and dying trees. And to me, I'm just so many directions of thought about it that it just has me worried. I really don't have a point other than to say that it has me worried. I don't know if you guys heard or not, but there's a guy down South Alabama, took a kid, he got onto a school bus, shot the bus driver, kidnapped a kid, and took him down into a bunker. And last I heard, he was still there. And when I started thinking about, well, gee, is this guy some kind of prepper and he just spazzed out? And so what is his bunker? Is it fortified to withstand World War III and floods? And if so, I don't know how they think they're going to get him out of there. And who knows what this poor kid is experiencing. Then I heard yesterday there was a shooting in an office building, and it's just like every time I turn around, there's another shooting or another crazed gunman or something. And gosh, people, there's two things to this. First of all, is that prior to the gun control debate and prior to the Oregon Mall shooting and the Sikh shooting, a shooting with one or two people in it wasn't a big deal. mass shooting required at least 3 people or more to be shot. And even at that, it didn't always make national news. But what we're finding now is that every little sideways thing that goes on that has to do with a gun in one form or another is just being magnified. And, you know, some of that is the media looking for their ratings, and they're riding on the trend. And some of it is the agenda from the establishment. Guns are bad, guns are bad. And some of it is that there's some people that are like this Alabama guy, you know. Some people are just flipping out. And I just, you know, want to remind everybody, keep yourself reined into check. We're not in World War III right now, but some people are going to cause, some of these people, these incidences. There was one in a college last week. There's just all these little random shootings, and these people don't understand that what they're doing is not accomplishing anything towards their goal, but it's accomplishing the goal of the gun grabbers' agenda to prove that we're all insane and nuts. And the maternal side of me keeps wanting to go to these people, tell the cops, get out of the way, mama's here, and grab these gentlemen and throw them over my lap and spank them like the 2-year-olds that they're acting like, and they don't understand what they're doing to the cause. I watched a little bit of the gun debates on the Hill yesterday, and you know, good for Wayne LaPierre, did a great job. Some of the congressmen did a good job. There was good and bad, you know. It seemed like one testimony was pro-gun, one testimony was anti-gun, you know, back and forth. But we got a long road to hoe on this. And I have taken note that there's a lot of other supporters coming in for us now. I think February 8th is going to be a good turnout. I hope Virginia's turnout is better than it was the last March. Of course, I didn't make it to that either. The footage I saw, it was okay. It was a good amount of people, but it looked like just some people from Richmond showed up. But across the country, you know, we saw several videos from some of you guys that you took that showed bigger crowds and inspiring words that were given. And so I hope that trend only continues to grow. Some of you may or may not remember or even know, because maybe you're newer to my channel, but back about 1.5 years ago, I did go to, it was a year ago. It was a year ago, last January. I went to protest on the steps of Congress on January 17th with the Occupy group. And of course the protest that I went was to redress my grievances with Congress about the bank bailouts. And, you know, I just want to make several analogies here. First of all, the bank bailouts, they're still an issue because the banks are the ones that are destroying our worlds. They're the ones that everybody bows down to and makes concessions to. And they're the ones getting our tax money and sending them out to other countries. The other thing I would like to address about that is the Occupy movement. Now, I'm not having a discussion with you about your approval or disapproval of the Occupy group, but, you know, there were some bad seeds that got into a good group of people, and then you had things like the media taking footage of some homeless dude that was hanging out with some occupiers, and he took a dump on a police car. And so then all of a sudden, you know, it was like, oh, occupiers are going around shitting on things. No. You know, for those of you all who did not give it much mind, but you plan on protesting with the gun marches, I would give a strong recommendation that you go and YouTube or Google up footage and scenes from the Occupy marches all across the country, because they were met with force, strong force. And there's several things that we need to be aware of as we start progressing into marches and rallies that become more frequent and bigger, and we get bigger participation. There will be nut jobs that come out, and they will make you look bad. And in the same time, there will be media coverage that only focuses on the parts that the establishment wants everybody to see. And for another part, there's different little tricks and tactics that they use. For example, the police use one thing called kettling. And what it is where there's a group of people and they kind of surround you in a half moon shape while you're up against a closed-in space like a wall, and they say on the blowhorn you have orders to disperse, but yet they're closing in the whole time and you have nowhere to go. And then they arrest you for not dispersing. So, you know, I only went to the one march in D.C. Our local Occupy group was about 10 of us, and we were older, and we literally met on Monday afternoons for about 2 hours a day, and we stayed in one spot and we held these signs, and we were all conservative Republicans. We were just pissed about the Bank of America and Wells Fargo. So I didn't have the experience that some of the other guys had, like in Oakland. I would like for you to look up some videos from Occupy Oakland police violence, and then it'll start leading you around the country to other situations. But we want to avoid those things, and so that's why I'm trying in my mind to remember some things, because I'd like to use my experience to kind of give you all some heads up, like about the kettling. Now, there was one incident in particular that happened, I believe it may have been Chicago, perhaps Detroit, but they kettled this group, and there was the building behind them. It was a YMCA, I believe. The cops were coming in, circling them, tear gas, billy clubs. A couple of them turned, busted into the building, and ran out the back side. So, of course, then they got breaking and entering, and the media focused on the fact that, oh, the Occupy group went crazy, and they're looting buildings. And what it was they were being kettled. Cops were coming on one street, they come on the other street, they came down in the middle, they kept around, and then they backed them up into the wall. So, one thing you have to do if you're, you know, if these protests come to that, and hopefully they won't, because we're a different group of people, but if they do, I just want you to have it in the back of your head, some of these things that could happen, and how to avoid them and how to get away from them. What did I do? As soon as I saw cops starting to kettle, I bolted. I was weak. Of course, you know, it was a different cause, and this cause is different, and I'm more passionate about this one. I know this is starting to get long. I'm rambling. Final note on that. I encourage any of you all that are going to go to the February 8 marches or any other marches, please take your videos. You know, keep taking those videos. And then when you upload them onto YouTube, if you don't mind, put on there, do the little click so other people, it's common use license, something like that. But basically what's saying is that you're allowing other people to use snippets of your video, because then we can piece together news reports, and, you know, other YouTubers maybe that have better computers can take snippets of this one, this one, and this one, and this one, and put it together, so we can show what we're doing and show a cause. I'm rambling, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself on some of this. I know that this particular cause, the gun rights, is going to be a bigger group of people, and it's going to be a broader span of people that will participate and feel passionate about it. And I'm not talking about what's going to happen on February 8th. I'm saying, as this crunch is coming down and Feinstein is on her kick, and the UN, okay, is meeting about the Small Arms Treaty, which would give the UN the ones telling us to disarm. Hello, people. You need to pay attention. There's a bigger world out here than what you guys are thinking about. The UN Small Arms Treaty. Now, last time I brought the UN Small Arms Treaty up, it was about 6 months ago, and a bunch of smart asses, which there's a couple of you guys that watch my videos today that like to make your little smart ass comments, and the next one you do, I'm just blocking you. I've tried not to block people, but this is the truth. The UN Small Arms Treaty, when you go to the United Nations website and you're looking up arms treaty, yes, that's talking about big guns and helicopters and grenades and rocket launchers and war machines, like huge military war machines. Before you get on here and start snapping at me this time, find the one for UN Small Arms Treaty. Also take note of the fact that Obama met with them last fall, agreed that he wanted to see this go forward, and they're meeting again in March, this coming March, a month and a half from now. If that happens, it won't matter what Feinstein says. Because as you know, Obama has sworn his allegiance to the UN and the Queen of England versus us. And if the UN says, okay, if you want to stay in the United Nations, you have to disarm your people, and Obama says, okay, go ahead, well, guess what? French, Chinese, Russian, all these other troops are going to drop out of the sky to come take our guns. It's not going to be our military. It's not going to be our police. You know, there's... I don't do a whole lot of news reports or a whole lot of political statements. I try to refrain myself, but this is bigger than canning bacon, for fuck's sake. It's not going to matter if you can can bacon, okay, if we're all in the FEMA camps. And, you know, I support our military and I support our police, our sheriff. I support our National Guard. I support all of them. And I'm a daughter, mother, sister, granddaughter of military. I wanted to go into the military myself, but I was pregnant, so they sent me back. But, so this is not I'm not discussing our military here. That's not the point. I did talk to a friend of a friend's husband's friend. I talked to him directly that's in the military, and he agreed with me. First of all, he said, you know, there is a percentage of military, as we've all heard, that will not disarm the people. They will go AWOL, they'll dissent, and they will come on our side. But he, like me, feels that it's going to be a UN situation. I think this is one of the reasons why NATO forces, UN and NATO, are training with police in Miami and Houston right now. I think that's why. And I think that's why the Chinese have started beefing up the real estate ownership here in the country this past year. Because they're going to have bases established here. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. If it's our military comes knocking to the door and says the president said I have to take your guns, it's going to be ugly. There's going to be some people who fight back. It may start a war, but it'll be fairly short-lived, in my opinion. If it's the UN troops that come in because Obama sided with the United Nations instead of with our Congress and our sheriffs, it's going to be an all-out mass murder bloodbath that could go on for a decade. We may literally have to fight to keep our country, our borders of our country, our states intact, not just our guns. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying there? This whole New World Order thing, that's what it falls under, the UN and NATO. I mean, it's so clear to me that that's what's going on here, is that, you know, just hand things over to the UN, and then the UN's going to control all the countries that are a part of it. And then they'll be big enough to be able to take the countries that didn't join, and it'll be one big happy world order under their rules and their guidelines. And I'm sorry, I'm not thinking that that's going to be their easy way to go. I know that some would think that would be the easy way to go. Oh, we'll just let them come in and take our people's guns instead of us looking like the bad guys. But make no bones about it. If that happens, it would be our administration that gave permission, and it will cause more people to stand up and fight against it than it would if it was within our own borders coming up with the decisions. With that being said, I still think there's going to be a bloodbath if Feinstein and all of them continue on this agenda. I just don't think it's going to be as big and last as long. It's going to be a fight for our Constitution, whereas with the UN it's going to be a fight for our land, for our homes, for everything. You know, and if you want to know how great the United Nations is, or how great we are, go ask some of the moms down in Africa whose children were given vaccinations and they wound up paralyzed, an entire village of children paralyzed. Because that's what we do. We go around, while we preach that we're trying to save the children here, we're going around the rest of the world doing what the UN tells us to do to get rid of other kids. So, it's... I'm rambling, I'm sorry. I try to keep my videos much shorter than this, so I'm going to close this out now, and then if I want to keep rambling, I'll just start up another video. But I just wanted to say, you know, I've got some thoughts coming up about, like I said, the rallies and the marches, things I want to make you guys aware of, and the weather's all manipulated in one form or another, whether it's Mother Nature, HAARP, or cow farts, and I think we're in trouble with this UN situation. So, hope everybody's doing good. Hope you're getting prepared. Hope you're staying ready. Get healthy. Start taking your vitamins if you don't already. Get your exercise daily. A body in motion stays in motion. I don't care how big you are. If all you can do is sit in a chair and start doing this all day long when you couldn't do it before, do it. Do anything you can to improve your situation. Combat, multiply yourself. And peace.